We will get started with our content in just about a minute. I just want to wait for these attendee ticker to slow down. But again, thank you so much for joining us. This is Seth Goddard with Predictive Response. Hold on one second. There's a baby in the office crying. Hold on one moment. See if I can convince Mama to. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So we're about to kick off. Looks like the attendees are all signing in. I apologize if you're going to be coming in late, but you won't even hear me apologizing. So we're going to, for those of you who haven't joined us on time, thanks again. My name is Seth Goddard. I'm the VP for Business Development here at Predictive Response. We're going to go ahead and kick off the content now so that you can learn how to create lightning dashboards and measure ROI. Predictive Response, for those of you who don't know us, we are an application innovation partner with the Salesforce. We are on the App Exchange, been there for 10 years now. So happy 10 years to Predictive. And I do want to remind people that they can use the question panel in your GoToWebinar application to go ahead and put questions in as we go. And we have staff standing by ready to field those questions. And I'd like to begin by passing this off to Oliver Shoulder from Idealist Consulting. He's going to go ahead and walk us through how you can turn your standard reports into data that is lightning ready and can be highlighted on a lightning dashboard. So Oliver, I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to you. Take the screen whenever you are ready.
Thank you. My name is Oliver Shoulder, and I'm a marketing automation consultant as well as a Salesforce consultant here at Idealist Consulting. And just to give a little background about my organization, Idealist Consulting is a proud B Corp based here in Portland, Oregon. We work with progressive organizations to help them build and improve Salesforce. And we offer Salesforce implementation and optimization services along with integrations of marketing automation solutions and custom application development. I'd also like to mention that Idealist Consulting provides many more resources like this webinar to those looking to improve Salesforce for their organization. So feel free to check out our blog after this webinar. And at the end, I'll give you guys a URL for the blog. All right. So I will share my screen now, and I'm going to walk you guys through how to basically create some reports and then turn them into lightning-ready reports that can be used to build a lightning dashboard. And so the three reports that I'm going to be using for this demonstration are going to be a lead source report broken down by different lead sources, a report showing total transaction goals, and this can either be donations or it could be sales depending on whether you're a nonprofit or a for-profit organization. And then finally I'm going to create an accounts report where we break it down by industry. And so what I'll do here is I'm just going to pull up a screenshot of what this dashboard is going to look like when we're done. And so we're basically turning basic summary reports into tabular reports, and then we're grouping the data so that it can be properly prepared to be in lightning-ready dashboards. So at the end, we're going to have a donut chart for our leads, a donut graph. We're going to have a gauge report, which allows us to track our progress towards a goal for our transaction goal report. And then we're going to have a bar graph for our accounts by industry. So I'm going to start here by opening up our leads by lead source. I'm going to go in here to edit this. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to swap this out from a summary report to a tabular report. And then from here we're going to add our lead source field. So I'll just search this on the left-hand sidebar and add in our lead source. And then what we're going to do is create the grouping. And this is what allows it to be separated by this field and create the the grouping that turns into any of those different dashboard components. So we're going to group by this field. And now if I run this report, you can see they have been separated by our different lead sources: advertisement, employee, referral, partner, trade show, etc. So I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to save this. And then next up, we've got our transaction goal report. So I'm going to go in here and edit this one. And we've got first a piece here where we need to group it by a date field. So I'm going to add in our close date. In fact, that's already here. And I'm just going to group it by the close date to start. Switch this into our tabular format. In fact, we want to put it in tabular first. Switch this into tabular. We're going to group by our close date. And then what we're going to do is summarize this field. And since the data that we care about here is our amount field, and really a total of that amount working towards a goal, we're going to make sure that we summarize and then use the sum function here and apply that. So I'll save this report. And then finally, we've got our accounts by industry. And this one is similar to the leads by lead source, where we're just grouping based on a field. So we'll put it into tabular, and then we're going to get our industry field in here. And we'll group by it. Now at this point, we've got all of our reports ready to be turned into Lightning dashboards. And so we're going to move over to our dashboards tab here. And on the top right-hand corner, we're going to do a new dashboard. For this, I'm just going to call it Demo Dashboard. And you can provide a little bit of a description. And generally, you want to group similar reports into a dashboard, and so you can have a name and then include a little bit more information there. And then you can also choose what folder it goes into. So for this, we're just going to leave it in our private dashboards folder. So we'll create this dashboard, and now it takes us to our main screen here where we can add the different dashboard components and elements. So we're going to click Add on the top right here. And I'm going to start with our leads by lead source. So if I just start typing the word lead, you can see it starts filtering from all our different reports here. And the one on the top here, actually the second one down is what we're looking for, leads by lead source. So we'll choose that. And now you can see, since we have already grouped it, it's breaking down our data based on lead source. So we've got lots of different options here for how we display the data. And it comes down to finding whichever method most easily conveys the data. And in this case, a donut report, a donut dashboard component really does a good job of breaking it down and letting you visually compare how many leads come from these different sources. Now we've got our record count here. We can choose what it's sliced by, and we don't have many options here. And then we can choose a couple different options here on how we sort the data. So we can do values descending, ascending, label descending, or ascending. And this just orders it based on what has the highest or lowest amount of data in it. And the labels are based on sorting it alphabetically. So I'll leave this descending. And then our max values displayed can limit how many values are displayed. So if we only wanted to show the top 3 values for our lead source field, so our most 3 common lead sources, I could just change this to 3 and click over here. And now you can see it just breaks it down into the top 3. So web, employee referral, and trade show. But since this really isn't too cluttered, we can just leave it at its default of 100 right here. So we'll save that. And then finally, we've got a title, which this is what will show up right above. And then we've got a subtitle, which will show just below the title. And we've got a footer, which will show at the bottom. So we can make a note here for the subtitle that it's showing all leads. And we can make a comment here that it's for all time. And by lead source. And so we'll add our first component here. Then our second one is going to be a gauge. And so we're going to start typing the first couple letters and get our total transaction goal report here. And we're going to choose our gauge. And now we get some different options here of how we can set these different segment ranges. And so it gives you basically a red zone, yellow zone, and green zone. So red means you're far from your goal. Yellow means you're sort of in the middle, you're making progress towards the goal. And green means you're very close to reaching that goal. You're in a good space. So what we're going to do is leave our bottom one down here at 0. And for this example, I want to set the goal as $1 million for our transaction goal. And so you can really slice this in whatever way makes the most sense. So you could say the red zone is up to 500,000. Yellow zone is only 5 to 600,000, and then green would be the rest. But for this, and I would say what happens most often is we just break it down into 3 even categories. And so if we divide $1 million by 3, our first one will be about 333,000. So I'll put that in here. For our yellow, we'll just double that. And for our green, we'll set the max at 1 million. And now if I click away, you can see that it breaks it out into our different goal categories here. And so we'll add that. And then finally, we've got our accounts by industry report. That comes conveniently at the top here. So we'll choose that. And I'm going to use a vertical bar graph here. And just to give you a quick preview, the only component here where we can choose a secondary value to measure is our transaction goal. And so if you wanted to measure something different, we've got our sum of the amount field, since that was the only report that we summed. But we could do this based off of record count as well. And you can obviously see if we set that as 1 million, we're nowhere near the number of records. And so we want to leave that as our amount that we're using as the sum. So we can see we're in a pretty good spot in terms of reaching our goal, about 73% there. And now the great thing about the new Lightning interface is that we can actually drag and drop these different reports. So we'll drag these over and they'll just snag to the top here. And we can even resize them. So if there's a particular report that's more important or less important, you can change the size. So maybe we want our lead source to be a little bit smaller and our gauge to be a little bit smaller. And then we really want to see our accounts by industry, so we can make that one a little bit bigger like that. And they're also a little more interactive than the previous dashboard. So you can see if you hover over it, it'll show you the count, and it'll even show you the percentage breakdown for each of those categories. So what I'll do is I'll just save that. And now we've created our Lightning dashboard. So that's just a quick walkthrough of how to create the reports that are in the proper formatting, and then build out the dashboard in Salesforce Lightning. So at this time, I'm going to hand it back over to Seth.
All right, Oliver, thank you so much for sharing that. What I'm going to do now is grab the screen. And I can see there's lots of people in here. Thank you all for joining. Okay, and so Oliver, can you see my screen now? Just confirm that that's what's coming up.
I can.
Okay, great. So what we have here is a dashboard that we've created to measure our campaign email ROI. And so what this does is it takes a look at the data involved with sending out automated emails through Predictive, and we also can track which web pages people are clicking on before an opportunity closes. So the idea is that you can start to figure out which of your email campaigns is actually effective and driving the most interactions or engagements at the transaction level. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just show you how do we get this data in here. And the way we do it is for Predictive, we set up campaigns with email content. And so here you can see there's a campaign called Mobile Vision, and there's a email ready to go. And so we're going to go ahead and send that out to one of our contacts. In this case, it's a gentleman named Brandon Crawford. And what I'm going to do is activate our automation by just having Brandon choose a color preference. Oh, I don't know. Let's go with blue today. And so as soon as a lead or contact record inside of Salesforce is either created or updated, what our system does is it looks at that data inside of Salesforce and decides, should this person now be added to a campaign? And in this case, the simple idea is that if they have a color preference, let's go ahead and send them our Mobile Vision campaign and give them a little bit of content that is specific to what they're looking for. And so here you can see his past activity. And if I refresh this, we can see that he has in fact been sent this email with the subject line. And now when he interacts with it, we can begin tracking whether or not this email should be involved with an opportunity. So now that we know that it's been sent out, we can go ahead and take a look at his opportunities. And now we can see it's actually arrived. So let's go ahead and click on that. Here's that email, Spring Brings New Opportunities. We Love Blue too. This is dynamic content specifically based on this. But we can give him a choice. Maybe he wants to click on red. And so now when he comes to a website and decides he wants to change this color to white or maybe to blue, we can start tracking these web pages that he's visiting so that when we come back and we take a look at his related opportunities and we close one, we know that we can know which email was involved with the transaction. For those of you who are in a nonprofit environment, you probably have a donation platform that's creating closed opportunities. If you are in a for-profit environment, you might have an e-commerce platform, or you may have existing opportunities like this where you would send out an email and you'd want to know, maybe you pick up the phone, you can see here that an actual lead qualification has come in that tells us that this person has actually clicked through to visit your website. And then now when we close the opportunity, we can actually credit that email. Let me just go ahead and refresh this screen. And now you can see that there's an email, Spring Brings New Opportunities. We can see which edition this is and which campaign it's in. And then we also see the web pages that he visited before the opportunity was actually closed. And so here on the opportunity record, you have a quick trace of what brought this transaction in. And then when we come back to our campaign dashboard, we should see this number go up, and then we should also see an uptick here on March 15th because a new opportunity has come in and closed. And that's one of the nice things about the Lightning dashboards is that when you simply refresh, you get the latest data in your Salesforce instance and your charts and graphs that you've been working on. We can see that this number has gone up, our campaign goals, and you can see that Salesforce is working hard to bring in this new graph. There we go. Our new web pages have increased by 3. And then, yes, we can see this uptick now on the 15th because another opportunity has come in. Again, one of the nice things about the donuts is that you can hover over and you can see which page was involved. You can also sort. We know that this blue one is the most popular, and then it's sorted here by popularity. So the smallest segment is sorted to the bottom. And then when you click in to view your report, you can see all the data behind it. So you can see which pages were involved with opportunities. And in our case, you can also see what was the visit order and then how many days to ROI. So how long was it between when someone looked at the page and then the opportunity actually closed. And then if you drill down, you'll actually get a sense of which pages were involved with specifically which opportunities. And then you can obviously write more dashboards and do different reports based on all of this data inside of Salesforce. So let me just go back to that dashboard for just a moment here. The other thing I wanted to show you is that because we've made this report Lightning ready, you can also view it and then see how you can segment your report in a slightly different way than you do the graph. So while the graph showed us opportunities over time, the report can still be summarized by something like the campaign name so that they can see which campaign was involved. So that way you almost have two levels of data available to your users who are looking at your dashboard. They can drill in, and at that point you can show them not the same data, but show them the data flipped in a slightly different way, summarized by campaign name instead of on the dashboard itself. There's no mention of campaigns. There's only a mention of dates. So that's a couple of the ways that we at Predictive use Lightning dashboards. I'd like to, at this point, wrap up this demonstration of how Lightning inside of Salesforce can highlight the success of your campaigns and show you the data that you need, and begin to get ready to open this up to Q&A. And so I'd also just like to thank Oliver for joining us, or for being a part of this. Idealist Consulting is a great partner of ours, and we're always happy to work with them. And so, Oliver, you've made this a great success already. So thank you so much for joining. I do want to remind people that Predictive will have another webinar about some of the new features of Lightning on April 19th, same time, 10 a.m. So just save the date and we'll send out more information regarding the content. And obviously, you can always learn more about our marketing automation platform for Salesforce. Again, we've been on the App Exchange for 10 years now. We are an innovation partner because of this deep integration. And if you want to learn more about email ROI, visit our website, book a demo, send us an email. We're happy to teach you more about what we do. And Oliver, I want to let you also wrap it up before we get to Q&A.
Sure. Well, I'd like to just personally thank everybody for joining today and watching me cover the reports and dashboards in Lightning. I also want to mention that at Idealist Consulting, we're constantly providing resources like this webinar to those looking at implementing Salesforce or improving Salesforce for their own organizations. And so please feel free to check out our blog. The URL for that is idealistconsulting.com, and from there you can navigate to our blog. So after this webinar, please feel free to check that out.
Okay, and so it looks like we've got some questions coming in. Oliver, I will give you the first question here, which is from Rodrigo. What was the transactional goal report, is his question. And then he's asking, do you group by close date and summarize by amount? You want to take the screen back and show him?
Sure. Yeah, so just to provide a little bit more background on the transactional goal report, I'm going to pull that back up again. And this report is based off of the opportunities object. And so for nonprofits, this can be viewed more as donations that are coming in. For profits, it's more a sales report. And so at the end of the day, this is a really important metric because it's tracking how much money is coming into the organization. Um, and the two pieces that we did to create the gauge is we group by the close date because it needs to be grouped by something, and we just put the close date in there to allow it to get the formatting that the dashboards need. And then we do the sum so that we can actually get a total and then compare that total to what our goal is. So I hope that answers that question. And if if there's any more follow-up on any of these questions, please feel free to jump in, and we really want to make sure that we can thoroughly answer all our questions here.
Okay, and I'm going to take the screen back because I see I've got one. From Brandy, the question is there a report or dashboard that can be run to show a list of everyone who opened a specific email edition? The answer is yes. Um, you can see here that the data on the campaign, which is where the email was sent from, includes the engagement activities. And so you can see here everybody that has engaged. So this is a list view, but this data is inside of Salesforce, so you can create a report and include that in a dashboard. So this is information, again, related to the campaign. It's a related object called engagement activity, and it will show you who's clicked, which email edition they clicked from, which web page they clicked on, and of course, who they are. You can also see that information if you click on their contact record. You'll see that related information on their contact record as well. So you can see their engagement activities. In this case, they visited certain web pages, and this is also this is available for reporting because again, it's part of a Salesforce object. And let's see what other questions we have. Here's one for you, Oliver. I believe the question is, how do you turn on the Lightning interface? Although you want me to show them? It's pretty.
I can pull it up here.
Okay, you got it.
Sure. So Salesforce has actually done something really cool with Lightning, where you can toggle it on and off for your whole organization. Um, and so that's within the setup area, and then you go into Lightning Experience, and you can see there's a couple different options here for some different smaller settings that I won't go into. But if we go into the bottom, you can see that you can literally toggle on and off the Lightning interface, and this doesn't. This just allows users to be able to access the Lightning interface. And so once this has been enabled within the setup area, we can go back to. In fact, you can just go into, click on your user right here, and this is what allows each individual user to toggle between the Lightning and the Classic interface. And so if I click Switch to Classic, you can see this takes me back to the old Classic interface, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And so it's very easy to go back and forth between the two. And especially for testing, if you are in an organization that's rolling out Lightning, it's great just to get a small segment of your users to test first before you launch it out to the whole organization.
Okay, great. Just let anybody else ask a question who wants to. Looks like Kimberly said, can you repeat? I believe you did repeat how to switch back and forth. There is a question from Brandy Smith. Does Salesforce Lightning come with additional cost for the nonprofit success pack? The answer is no. It's you can enable it today just by following the steps that Oliver just did. And then a question: before enabling Lightning, what things should I need to be aware of? Um, well, make sure that you know what's installed in your Salesforce environment. Check those applications on the App Exchange and make sure that they are Lightning ready. Most of them are now. More and more, that's just simply required by Salesforce. But you do want to make sure that you don't have an application that is not Lightning ready, because you will have a hard time interacting with it. But it's a very custom thing. So you really need to check what's in your environment. Looks like
I'll also mention, I think when we're sharing this out, we might be able to publish a couple of resources, because there's a lot of resources that are published by Salesforce that go into detail about the specifics, because it's you can just toggle it on or off, but there are certain features that still are lacking in the most recent update, but they're getting very close with the winter 2017 update.
Are there another question, are there any preset up Lightning dashboards for the predictive reports? There are. They have to be filtered, obviously, and the question is that even possible? The answer is yes, that is possible. So our latest release, which will be going onto the App Exchange, actually, our latest release now has an embedded dashboard. You will need to adjust the filters in those reports to obviously meet your needs, but it sort of gets you going with some sends and opens and clicks. And so that way you can just duplicate the template and set up the filters. There is a question here. How are you directly relating your email campaigns with an opportunity? We are doing that through our application. So our application does that work. Anytime an opportunity is closed, we check and we take a look. What was the last email edition sent? So that's what we do. That's why if you notice, I had to refresh the opportunity after I closed it, because during that 5-second window, a lot of work was done to check to see which email was sent and also which web pages were looked at. Any more questions? Okay, do we automatically get the latest predictive release if you're already a customer? That's a good question, Brandy. No, you don't automatically have it. We don't like to just push things onto our clients, but it is a managed app, and so you can either you can update it directly from the App Exchange or let us know, and we can push it to your instance, and then walk you through some of the new changes. Okay, so it looks like some of the questions are slowing down, and I just wanted to remind everybody that you can obviously visit Idealist Consulting's blog and website to learn more about what they're offering and some of the webinars that they're doing. You can visit our website to learn more about Predictive. And also, if you are going to be in DC next week, you can go ahead and book a meeting. And here on our website, predictiveresponse.com/NTC 2017. I'd be happy to meet with you there. And Oliver, do you have anything else you wanted to add before we wrap it up?
No, I'm just really appreciative for everyone joining today, and taking the time to learn a little bit more about the Salesforce Lightning reports and dashboards.
Okay. If that's it, then we will go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, save the date, April 19th. Same time, 10 a.m. Pacific. Predictive will bring you another webinar about some of the things that we've seen in Lightning that we think are really exciting and hopefully help everybody out. So that's about it. Thanks again for joining. We will send out a recording of this in case you were just so enthralled with it the first time. You can watch it again or share it with your colleagues or your best friends. And we will take it offline at this point. So thank you all. Have a wonderful day.